They're timing how much time it's taking, and you see that they make the batter. He's making the batter. He makes a big, nice batter. He sends away right away, but once he made the batter, sends it over to another guy. He has this big, like, metal slammer. What's it called over there? You know, it's attached one side to the, and pop, and he's hitting it down. He keeps working. Then they're cutting off the small pieces, and then the ladies get the small pieces, and they make each one individual matzah. It's good to go watch it. It's really interesting. Then you see it go in the oven. They take it out. They check for the puffs if there's any place which is not cooked on it. But you see that the size of you see how big it is. It's about this big. One dough is about this big that you can actually use it and prevent it from becoming chametz if you're working, and they work it very hard.
On rollerblades.
On rollerblades now?
Rollerblades.
Oh yeah. No, there was a guy over there on a hoverboard. You know the hoverboards? Yeah. He has the.
All of them.
Huh?
They're all working like this.
They're on hoverboards because what happens is once the matzahs are on the table, so now they put them on. So there's one guy putting them on the metal stick, and the problem is the oven's here, and there's already a few in. So he has a few seconds before it's his turn. So he has to keep moving the matzahs. So he's like on his hoverboard, he's moving the matzahs, and it's like they're so synchronized that one guy goes, one guy put it in. You know, it's unbelievable. And I timed how much from the time I went to the place, how much time from the water goes in. It's about 7-8 minutes from the time the water goes into the matzahs outside of the thing. It's good to watch. It's interesting. It's good for the kids also. So the Gemara says that is for wheat. Seurin, when it comes to barley, shloshet kavin. Barley gives you less flour. Barley will give less flour from the kernel. So you can actually buy 3 kavin, 3.6 liters, or no, 2.8. We're at 2.8, so now we're at 4.2. We're at 4.2 liters of barley. Rabbi Natan omer mishum Rabbi Eliezer chiluf dvarim. Rabbi Eliezer actually says the opposite. Rabbi Eliezer says since there's oil inside the flour, inside the wheat, it prevents the chametz. You can actually go bigger on flour. You should go bigger on wheat. The Gemara says Vatanya. So Rabbi Shmuel said 2 and 3. Rabbi Shmuel beno shel Rabbi Yochanan ben Beruka omer bechitin shloshat kabin. When he says when it comes to chita 3. Ubeseurin arba. So we said before that Rabbi Yochanan ben Beruka said 2 and 3, and now we see that Rabbi Yochanan ben Beruka is saying 3 and 4. What is it? Is it 2 for wheat and 3 for barley, or is it 3 for wheat and 4 for barley? La kasha ha behasikta ha bemaliata. When you take a low quality grain, so you can get more. You can take bigger because it's going to give you less flour. When you buy lower quality, you think you're getting a bigger bag. You're going to get the same amount of flour. You've got to buy 3 kabin of cheap wheat to get the same amount of flour. And you got to buy 4 kabin of cheap wheat to buy the same flour as you go for 3. So don't think you're saving money by buying cheap. The Gemara says, Amar Papa Shma mina giri'in chite chasichta michite maliata. You see that the quality of the cheaper wheat is worse compared to the good wheat than the quality of the cheaper barley compared to the good barley. Migrian de sare de hasifta misare de mariata. Diratam tilta b'chariva. Because there we go. It's a 1/3 diminishment, and here it's 25%. In the wheat you lose 33%, and in the barley you lose 25%. When you're buying, imagine to get the same amount of flour, you got to buy 2 good kabim of wheat or 3 kabim of cheap one. So you see that the cheap one is 33% less good than the other one. And the opposite, you're going from 3 to 4. So you have a 25% diminishment. We're going to continue a little bit more. It's very interesting. It's all the halachot. We have 5 more minutes. Amar Rav, because really our Amoud is the next Amoud. Amar Rav, we're a little late. Amar Rav, kava melugna de pisra. Rava said we would do a kav of a certain place. We wouldn't use the standard kav. We would use the kav from lugna for Pesach. The ken chala, and same thing for chala as well. Meaning the shiur that we need amount of flour to make the shiur that we need the amount of flour to be able to give to have the obligation to give to the Kohen. That's going to be the kav of lugna, which is more than the regular kav we're speaking about. The Gemara says, "Vatanya chameshet rivei kemach ve'od chayavin bechala." 1 second, we have a problem. 5 rivi'im kemach ve'od, meaning 125% of kemach of a kav is what you need to get to the portion, to the point where you need to give to the Kohen. How much do you need to make the dough? How much flour do you need? How much wheat do you need to be able to use to make the dough that you're going to have an obligation to the Kohen? So they said, Rav said, we would use the kav of lugna. 1 second, we know that the Mishnah says it's not a kav, it's 1.25 of a kav. It's 5 portions. It's 1.25. You're giving on 1 kav. How can you give to the Kohen and say a bracha when you're giving not the proper amount? Kav milugnai nami ahai shurakai. Really, because you didn't understand. The kav of that city is 1.25. You go to a certain place, they sell you a bottle of water, 1 liter. Some places they sell you 933 milliliters. Why? They want to save they make the bottle this and it's tricking you. The kav in one place was 1 liter, was 2.8, and then the kav in another place was a little bit more than 2.8. So really, the halacha is it's a little bit more than a kav. In order to have a chiyuv to give challah, you have 1.2.
A kav is a measurement.
A kav is a measurement.
Right. So how could a kav in one place be different than the because a liter is a liter.
A gallon could be different. There's gallon.
Yeah, it's just whatever we decide to sell. We call it this, you call it that. American dollar, Canadian dollar, whatever. That's how it used to be back then. So if we think about it together, what's the shear? So it's 1.25. So it's 2.8. It's 1 kav, not 2 kav. It's 2 kav to be chayav. So 1 kav is 1.38 and plus 25% of that. So let's say 1.4. 1.4 divided by 4. 7.5. 3.75. So it's 1.4 plus 3.75. It's about 1.8 liters. 1.8 liters of volume to be able to have a chiyuv of giving challah. A little bit more. Amar Rabbi Yosef, Hanenashi didan, very interesting. Nahug nemifa kapiza. Our ladies, we would do kapiza. We would do much less. We were so scared for Pesach. Kapiza lepischa. We would do kapiza for pischa. We wouldn't allow, what do we say? That if you have a certain amount of dough, you're good to go, you're not going to get chametz. We would be scared of that. We would do even less. We wouldn't do 2.4 liters. We would do even less than a liter we would do. I think it's 3/4 of a liter. That's what it says, 3/4 of a kav. My mistake. Amari Abaye, ma'datich lechumra. You think you're doing something good? Chumra datedekuna. Your stringency, sometimes you want to do a machmir, you end up having a big kula. You're losing out by doing that. Why? Now all of a sudden, you don't have an obligation of challah. What do we say? A challah is a little bit more than 1.25 of a kav. You're doing less than a kav. So you're good for Pesach, but you're not good for challah. You're losing the mitzvah of challah. Amane davdan ke Rabbi Eliezer. Important, we're doing like Rabbi Eliezer. Damar Rabbi Eliezer omer harodeh v'noten nisan asan mitzarifan. Here's what I told you before. You can bake your stuff. You can bake your dough and give challah after. How are you going to give challah? You don't have to give from each individual peach, because imagine now, I'm making matzot. You're going to break the matzot? I need shlemot. That we're all fighting for shlemot. We get from New York, the matzot, they're all broken. We have to buy 10 boxes to get a few shlemot matzos for the... So you're going to start breaking a piece? Imagine, I didn't give challah. So every piece of matzah, break a piece, give it to the kohen. You broke all the matzahs. No, what we do is we bake all the matzahs regularly, and when we bring them from the oven into a big basket, that combines them all to be one big dough, and now I can give one full challah. It's like it's one big piece of food that is all connected inside, even though they're separate. The bowl itself, the sal, the basket, connects them all together, and connecting them all together makes them that they're all one. So that's what we're doing. We're doing like that. So therefore, we can give one full matzah at the end, and we don't have to break our matzahs. The Gemara says, "Vayit marana." Amar Bishua ben Levi, important halacha. Lo shanu kikarot shel bavet shenoshchot zo mizo. 1 second, Rabbi Yeshua said that halacha only works when the breads are stuck together. You buy buns, the challah breads, they're all really stuck together in the oven. Yeah. And you've got to break them, noshchot, you got to break them apart. So when they're all one and you put them in the basket, that's one. But not, that's what Rabbi Yeshua said. But if you take a baguette that they're not touching, you take little breads that are not touching, that you can't do the challah. So how are you doing the matzah? They're not touching. The Gemara says, we go with Rabbi Ranina, that he says even if they're not touching. And that seems to be the halacha. Even if they're not touching, you put them into the basket, it becomes one thing. A little bit more. So now let's say you take them out. The whole thing is you got to take them out of the oven, you got to put them in a basket. What if I didn't put them in the basket? I put them on a tray, and there's no border on the tray. So the Gemara wants to know, what brings them together? Mao, toch ba'inan, v'aleka. You need an inside, because it's like you have no inside on the table. I need an inside of a keli. Or din ma'avir keli ba'inan. Or I just need to be on some keli, and I need the airspace of the keli. V'ha'ika teku. The Gemara doesn't give an answer to that. So it's definitely, if you're going to use this halakha, definitely you got to go with the bowl. Last little thing. Tanya Rabbi Eliezer omer hasan mitzarifan. Rabbi Eliezer says that what works is you need a basket. Rabbi Shua omer tanu mitzarifan. Rabbi Shua is very lenient. Even an oven would work. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel omer kikavot shel bavel shenoshchot zo mitztarfot. When Rabbi Yeshua said what he said, it's only when they're stuck together in the oven. But if you're not going to be stuck together, you need to put them in the basket. Bottom line, what it says over here is that you're allowed to give the challah after having cooked it. If you want to do that, and if you want to give from every individual piece, you can give from every individual piece. I don't want to give every piece, so what do? You have two options. If the buns are in the inside and they're stuck together in the oven, so now they're considered one big thing. And if they're individual pieces, you got to take them right away out of the oven into a basket and bring them all together inside the basket.